Today, brothers and sisters, I want to talk to you from this subject. Rehabilitation or final destination. Now, I don't know how many of you saw the flyers that we made for this week's lecture. If someone is just visiting us today for the first time, may not know what has been going on here. This is the fourth week, I believe. I've been in a series on talking about what the powers that be have done and are doing and will continue to do as far as the rounding up, the incarceration and elimination of our young people, especially our black males. I don't know how serious you are about what I'm saying. I don't know if it's really having an impact upon you, what I'm saying. I feel like what I used to read about as far as the prophets of old. We used to hear how the prophets of old would go out and cry out and give their energy and their life trying to warn the people of impending doom. Yes. And we read down through history and even through our scripture text that the people ignored the prophets. The people would even kill the prophets for simply trying to let them know what's coming. Isn't that deep, brothers and sisters, when you have a people who are so comfortable in their madness? Yes. Are y'all hearing me? Yes. People are so comfortable in their madness. People are so comfortable in their enslavement. People are so comfortable in their messed up condition that they literally adjust to it. Yes. Right. And literally think that everything is all right. And then they don't realize how bad things are until it happens to their child. That's right. That's right. And then once it happens to their child, all of a sudden there's this awakening in that person, and they want to lead mass protest. Only before a little while, until they go back to sleep. In the series I've been conducting, I've been trying to show you about the various laws that have been passed. I think it was last week I made the statement that after you begin to see clearly what's going on, if it does not infuriate you, turn the fan on a little bit, brother, because it's getting warm and we get sleepy when it get warm. I see folk getting there, I see people already getting in their sleep position. I mean the big fan in the house. Cool it off in here. Because I see some folk doing like this. They getting in the position to go to sleep, okay? And I forgot what I was saying. It is really deep though, brothers and sisters, how we as a people adjust our predicament so to whereas we don't want to do anything about it. And like I said on last week, man, if you begin to glimpse what I'm talking about, and it literally does not stir you up, if it does not infuriate you, if it does not bring you to the point of saying, I'm going to do something about this, if it does not bring you to that point, then as far as I'm concerned, you are an enemy to black people. Did y'all hear what I said? Yes, sir. When you clearly see that there's a power out here trying to eradicate us, and that doesn't bother you, then I don't trust you. That's right. I just told you there's somebody trying to kill me, trying to kill you, and it don't bother you. Then that means you ain't got my back. Because you ain't even got your own back. Am I making sense, y'all? Yes. So it's important for us to grab the meaning of this. Today's subject, as I said again, is rehabilitation or final destination. Now, the picture that we use for today today's the flyers for today's lecture, let me pull up these pictures here. Okay, here we go. The picture that I use for this particular subject today is this picture that you see right here. As you see, brothers and sisters, on the screen, this is a picture of a modern, just recently built Supermax facility. Look how nice it looks. Okay? Now what's really deep about it is, if we don't correct what's happening in the path of our young people, this is going to be their home. And I don't just mean our young people, I mean adults as well. But the laws have been written to literally get rid of an entire generation of black folk called teenagers. Are y'all grabbing what I'm saying? When I say rehabilitation or final destination, this is where our young brothers and sisters will grow up, in facilities like what you're looking at. What happens to a child? Understand this question. What happens to a child when his or her physical resources are unable to meet the challenges of their physical environment? Think about the question. When young people's physical resources, meaning finances, education, housing, you name it, health, when their physical resources are unable to meet the challenges of their physical environment, what happens to a young person in that predicament? Everybody say failure. Everybody say defeat. Long-term ramifications and incarceration. What happens to a child when his or her emotional resources, meaning a family support system, a good congregation to stand with them, okay, self-awareness, right knowledge of self. What happens when a young person's emotional resources are unable to meet the challenges of their social environment? Now, I just talked about the physical environment. What about your social environment? What happens when our young people are not emotionally strong enough to survive in their social environment? What happens when a young person is made to believe don't nobody care about you? And I ain't just talking about young people. Older people, we go through the same thing. What happens when our young people are made to feel you ain't no good to society? What happens when our young people are made to feel that your parents don't really care about you because they ain't here? What happens to a young child's mind when they're told your daddy abandoned you? When they're told that by their mother. So in the mind of that child, there's a war going on between mommy and daddy. How many times have our young people suffered the ramification of one parent putting another parent down? Talk back to me. And we want to know why the success rate is so low. We need to understand, brothers and sisters, and everybody repeat this after me, please. Our children are vulnerable. Come on, let's say it again. Our children are vulnerable. Sometimes, y'all, we become so focused on what we want. We become so focused on our idea of achievement that we literally forget about the young people. Our children are vulnerable. They're at risk for significant and enduring social, emotional, behavioral, and spiritual problems. And I mean long-term problems. The powers that be, the power brokers, and I'm going to share some of, you're going to see who some of those are in a moment. The power brokers have projected, what did I just say?